Welcome to Crushing 1L, a podcast about how to let yourself down in new and interesting ways. Just kidding, we're happy and everything's fine. I am Abi, and I'm a 1L at Penn Law, and that's Amina, a 1L at UCLA Law. Amina, welcome back. First topic today, chainsaws and bowling pins.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, letting yourself down in new and interesting ways. I don't want to frame it that way in terms of like letting myself down per se, but like I have definitely had to level with myself recently in ways that I have not prior.
Yeah,
And
radical
like,
transparency with oneself.
yeah, had to like, yeah, exactly. I had to really be honest with like who I am, what I'm capable of, like where I'm at and what I need. Um, and that can feel like I'm letting myself down because it's like, like we're a high strung group of people and we're like, why can't I be better? Why can't I do better? Why can't I do more? And it's just like, no, I'm literally doing the best and most that I can and then some, and it's actually running me ragged. But like that, like, and especially like that aspect of like I'm getting run down and like that shouldn't be happening. Like if that's happening, like something is not functioning the way it should be. So not letting myself down, but definitely have been reevaluating my chainsaws and bowling pins because I think I was like looking at some bowling pins like chainsaws.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And for everybody who's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Chainsaws and bowling pins. I think in a prior episode
Oh,
we had
right,
used the
right,
metaphor of if you're juggling a bunch of shit, right? As a law student who also has like social obligations and like work obligations. Like we're human beings, we're full human beings, so we have a lot of stuff in the air, right? You have to figure out which of the things you're juggling are chainsaws and which of the things you're juggling are bowling pins, right? Because not everything is the same important, the same level of importance. And I think law school really, at least for me and you, like I don't want to speak for anybody else, but yeah, we're being kind of pushed to the limit of, hey, you got to look up and you got to go, okay, chainsaw, chainsaw, bowling pin, and maybe you let the bowling pins drop once or twice. If it means you get to keep the chainsaws up in the air. So, what do you think your chainsaws are? I mean, I think every law student's chainsaws should be like keeping up with class and making sure you're setting yourself up for success for the final exam. Um, is firm recruiting stuff a chainsaw or a bowling pin or somewhere in between?
yeah.
Maybe a bowling pin with spikes on it. I don't know.
I think that's definitely like a chainsaw or something. A bowling pin that I've been looking at is like a chainsaw.
Mm,
Like
mm-hmm.
law firm recruiting is what we're doing here. Like, well, rewind. Like legal jobs are what we are aiming for here in
Yeah, you
whatever
go
way
to
that
law school to
manifests.
get a job as an attorney. Like that is the
Yes.
point of this whole thing.
hmm but I also think like, and this is me getting on my soapbox right now, but like, you
You
know,
go, dude. You go.
I've been
Hey,
I've been
Dove, if you want to sponsor this, come on.
I've been hearing a lot like in like from from OCS and from firm events like, oh, like the law firms hate that they're pushing the timeline up like this, like the law firms hate it too, and I'm like, look me dead in my eyes right now. Look me dead in my eyes and tell me one more time that it hurts you too. I swear to God. Like, you are driving this insanity. And I think it's like, for me, like, again, like, that was something where I'm like, oh my God, like, I had to do this. Like, because I'll be, and I think we're going to talk about this a bit later, but like, law firm applications have opened. Like, they opened at the top of November. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just do not have the capacity to focus any significant amount of my attention on that. Like, fully, truly, genuinely, I cannot be focusing on applications right now. Wherever that puts me in the application cycle, like, I don't know, but like, I just can't do it. Bowling
Yeah,
pin.
and bowling pin, right? And it's like if that stuff is happening at the expense of like keeping up with class and like making sure you're tracking what your professor thinks about everything you're covering and setting yourself up for success on the final and also like grades aside, like actually understanding the law too, like that is a chainsaw. That is the most important thing about 1L and first semester and stuff. So I'm with you, dude. I think other stuff, bowling pin, if it comes at the expense of the important stuff, um, I will say that it's so funny. Yeah, the firms, every event you go to, they like look at you with these sad eyes and they go, "We're so sorry that you're having to do this." As they spend like thousands of dollars on these beautiful events and like honestly, swanky events, like good drinks, good food, good conversation. It's fun to dress up and talk to like cool people who have cool stories and cool stuff to say. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But it kind of does give like Thanos telling that little green guy that he's just as sad as her, and then he throws her
Yeah.
off the cliff, and he's like, this hurts me just as much as it hurts you," and then he
It's
like
literally
throws.
that.
It is literally that, and we
It's
are the green person. We're the green person being thrown off the cliff. I don't remember her name.
Zamora.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Watch that
we
be
are.
wrong. That would be hilarious.
I
But
is
yeah,
it isn't it Gamora?
Gamora, not Zamora. You
Yeah,
know what? I
yeah.
was mixing Zoe Saldana, who's the actress, and the name of
Who
the
is the real life
character.
person? Yeah, Zoe is the real life person, and then I think yeah. Well, I only got it because you said you said the
Yeah,
name
Gamora.
most of
It's
them.
Gamora.
Gamora, yeah. So we are Gamora. We are the little green guy, and we are being thrown off this cliff by Thanos, and Thanos is looking us in the eye and saying, "I'm so sorry.
Oh,
This
this really
hurts me."
sucks. Yeah,
Um, yeah.
law firms, stop. Just stop. Stop. Just stop. Just stop
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think they are a bit perturbed, right? Like to be clear, I think they are a bit perturbed because this is an accelerated timeline for them too. I've been talking to a lot of recruiting managers, and we'll get into this more, I think, during like the second topic. But I've been talking to a lot of recruiting managers, and they are like, "Yeah, we just finished last cycle like 6 months ago, because it happened in last spring." So this same thing happened just a few months ago for the class before us, and now it's happening already for this class. So they are also kind of back on their heels. So I do feel for them. They're having to consolidate a recruiting timeline that they take a lot of pride in. Firms, I think, do take a lot of pride in like having you meet a lot of attorneys at the firm, having you get a feel for the culture, and that usually takes a longer time to do properly. And they are having to crush it into 1 or 2 months. Like literally, OCI for us is a month and some change from now.
Yeah.
I do feel for them. It is a little bit of the Spider-Man meme though. I think like the law schools are pointing at the firms going, "What the heck, guys?" And then the firms are pointing at the schools going, "What the heck, guys?" So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And then it's and then we are Gamora. We are being thrown from the cliff.
Yeah.
Where's
So not
ScarJo? I need
cool.
ScarJo and Jeremy Renner to save me or something. Isn't that what happened in that movie?
She definitely got thrown off the cliff, and that was that. I don't remember much more than that, but yeah.
R.I.P. Dude. R.I.P.
But yeah, try not to fall off
Chain-
the cliff there.
yeah,
Yeah.
chainsaws
Are
and bowling
they,
pins.
do you have any like things that you've been looking at incorrectly that you not incorrectly, but that you want to like shift in your prioritization of them or
Yeah,
understanding
no,
of them?
100%, dude. I was going to like every firm event, and so okay, a lot of this is hindsight bias because now we are past, at least at our school, we are past a lot of the firm events, so I can kind of I have the benefit of looking back and going, man, that was a crazy couple months because they're slowing down. But I do think if there were just as many happening now, I would not be attending as many of them because I want to spend more time recuperating, like resting and recuperating from class and being healthy and also reviewing material, which I have not been doing as good of a job as I could have been doing, but I plan on it. I do plan on it. So that's me identifying a chainsaw and going, I've been dropping that. I need to pick that one back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think very in line with what you're saying. Nothing really substantive to add there. But yeah, hey folks, chainsaws and bowling pins. Law school is hard. This is something we're talking about off camera, right? Important to acknowledge. Law school is hard. There are chainsaws, right? Like this is not a bowling pin only situation. This is not a trivial thing. If you do go to law school, like do please take it seriously. It is an important part of your education. There are some chainsaws. Um, but we want to be careful with how we describe how tough it is because we don't want it to sound impossible. And I want to reiterate, like, we are doing it. Like, Amina, you're doing it. You're doing a great job. You're in the middle of it. You're killing it. You are doing it, so it is not impossible. You are capable. And everybody listening who may be in the middle of this, you are capable. You are capable of doing this. This is something you can do. Is it tough? Yes. Most things worth doing in life are tough. So we
Yeah.
got this, folks. We got this. Acknowledge the chainsaws. Keep them in the air. Drop the bowling pins if you have to. But either way, you got this.
And also just on that point too, which thanks, Aubrey, but like I also want to say too, this is an important part to like the point of not like going to law school with like just without reason, which sounds like strange, but like again, like why we really say like really think carefully about why you want to go to law school. Like, is this the right path for you? Like, is this something that you actually want slash need to do to achieve the thing that you want to do? Right? Because it's like this is the moment where you're going to be like, why am I doing this? I have been asking myself so frequently, why am I doing this? Like, what am I getting out of this? Especially for me, like as somebody who doesn't really have a firm like, oh, I'm want to go to law school because I want to practice labor employment law. Like, like where I'm kind of a bit more like open to suggestion, so to speak. I really have had a lot of moments recently of like, why am I here? And like, what am I going to get out of this? And so, like, it's important to like, again, have that why and like have something where you can like recenter yourself and like, I'm working this hard at this thing because I want to do this or like because I'm hoping to get this out of it. Yeah. So, like, again, like when you're doing your applications and stuff, like that's something really important to consider and like really be firm on. Yeah. Because it will matter. It will matter.
It is, and it is so important. And what's really cool about law school is that you get to have so many, and again, something we were talking about off camera too, you get to have so many conversations with such cool people with interesting stories, whether those are your peers. Folks, we go to school with some really cool fucking people, like really cool people who've done a lot of cool stuff. So conversations with peers, conversation with professors. Our professors are sick. They're so cool. They've done such cool things. Conversations
Yeah.
with like guest speakers that come to campus. Conversations with attorneys that have had like full lives prior to this and or have done really interesting work as attorneys. Every conversation you have, not only is it an opportunity to experience and learn about something completely new that you've probably never heard of, it's also an opportunity to refine your own story because these are smart, cool people, and smart, cool people are really interested in hearing why, right? They're going to turn the question around and ask you, so why are you at law school? And you're going to get so many chances to refine and figure out, really, like learn and figure out what your genuine answer is because these are conversations with no stakes, right? You're not trying to impress anybody. These aren't people that are going to give you jobs at the drop of a hat. So they really are genuinely interested in hearing why you are here. And you have so many chances to actually reflect on that. And to Amina's point, whew, if you don't have a good reason and you learn that you don't have a good reason because you've talked about it 20 times and you can't think of anything, boy, I don't know. I don't know how you would motivate yourself. I think there is part of me is also like discipline shows up when motivation takes the day off, right? And so there are days that even the most motivated people, right? Like I think I mean you and I both have pretty good reasons to go to law school. There's days you wake up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here, right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but like you get your ass out of bed and you go for it because you're a disciplined person. And like chances are that if you're even a person who's considering going to law school or you are a person who's been admitted to a law school, like you chances are you are a disciplined person. Like you can't really get here without some modicum of discipline. So I don't know. I don't want to go to like Joe Rogan, like or like who's that guy? Who's the scary Navy SEAL guy? Jocko. I don't want to go too Jocko on you and go like, oh, discipline is who shows up when motivation takes a day off. Like that's like cheesy bullshit, but it is also a real thing where like even people with this really strong passion and idea for why they're here have days where they're like, man, this kind of stinks. And
Yeah.
so just have confidence that different parts of your personality are going to show up like when you need them to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. But yes, good luck to us. Good luck to those of you who
good luck
are
to us. Good luck to
going through your
you.
journey. We'll be going through your journey. Yeah,
Yeah.
we feel
We
for
have
you. We
some
understand.
Yeah, we have some specific shout outs that we will get to in the listener questions. But yeah, we really appreciate everybody who listens and anybody who's a law student or doing LSAT stuff and preparing for being a law student. Like, we feel you, dude. We're all on the grind together. You are not alone. You are not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, cool. Second topic. Segue.
Second topic. Segue. Let's do it.
Okay, so this is the topic, our second topic, usually when we just give updates on how actually school is going in substantive ways. I have a couple of updates. I think Amina's mostly just elbows deep in a memo right now, but we'll get to that in a second. I'll just get my updates out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
Um, hey, reason to come to Penn Law, folks. I have a bunch of midterms, but none of them are graded, and they're all just like take home, kind of do them as at your pace. They're really just learning opportunities. So how that works for us is our professors will just upload like a Word document, and it'll be a practice midterm. And you can set a timer for yourself or not, but you just have a few days to get it done. our professors do recommend, hey, this should take you 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, depending on the length of the exam. And they usually help you out by setting a word limit. Folks, word limits are the biggest blessing. Oh my goodness. Word limits are the biggest blessing that I've ever encountered. Never have I ever been a person who gets anywhere close to a word limit, right? In college, writing papers, I was an engineering major. So, like, anytime I had to write a paper for a writing class, I'd be like, what's the minimum word count, right? In law school, they give you a maximum word count because there's so much shit you can write about. And it's actually a blessing in disguise to be limited to a page number or a word count limit, because you could just write and write and write and write and you would have no idea when to stop. And so they give you that hard limit. So you actually have to be concise and clear with your language. I love a word limit. And so an exam might be a few pages long with a long fact pattern or several different long fact patterns. And they might say, hey, this should take you roughly 3 to 4 hours. And here's a rough word limit of like 4,000 words. Or my torts midterm is a little shorter. It's like 2,000 words. And so I don't know, it probably takes 1 to 2 hours. Um, and it's just a fact pattern, and you kind of just have to issue spot. You can use notes if you want to. You could try to not use notes to see how well you remember your stuff. I would say the advice I've gotten for the first midterm you ever do, the first practice exam you ever do, use your notes. You're not proving anything to anybody for like doing an exam cold on your first try.
Yeah.
Doing exams cold is a thing that you build up to sometimes. So once you've had a second to actually consolidate and review your notes, you might try to do an exam without any notes, but I'm not doing that. These first few exams, use your notes, take your time. I'm not really even I'm setting like a rough timer, but not really. And then that word count limit again, beautiful, right? Um, I love a midterm. I love an ungraded, take your time midterm because it really is an opportunity to review your notes, fill in any gaps on your notes that you may have, any holes that you may have left on accident inadvertently, and use your notes as a checklist as you go through the fact pattern. Practice identifying those issues, issue spotting, and practice writing. Oh, I mean, I don't know about you. The writing in a clear sentence what is wrong with the thing you read. Mission impossible, dude. Because like, well, it's like we know all the shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
not all the shit, but like you read the thing, you're like, oh, negligence or something. I don't know. But like, how do
Yeah.
you write that in a sentence in English that makes sense to somebody else? Easier said than done. So that's been really fun. I won't talk about midterms anymore, but I love an ungraded take home midterm. I know that some schools are not so lucky to have ungraded take home midterms that are just at your own pace. Um, I would say, I don't know, don't go to UCLA, I guess.
Whoa,
Come to
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a minute,
well,
because
and your memos are for grades, so I don't
well,
really
well,
know.
yeah, that we're gonna
That is
one.
whack, dude.
Honestly, I've been having so many conversations with people having learned that yours is pass fail. I'm like, this has to change. And I've literally been talking to 1Ls, I've been talking to 2Ls. I'm like, apparently, yeah, it's been a lot of conversation. I'm like almost to the point of like, this actually needs to change and somebody should do something about it. Like, we should do something about it. Like, because it just does not have to be this way.
It doesn't.
Anyway, but
Well, no,
yeah.
that's all I have to. That's like my midterm into the segue. Like, this is my segue to open you up to maybe you want to talk about your memo stuff. I've been talking a while.
Oh, well,
How's
I
it?
mean, I can talk to, I'm like, I will say we did have one take home midterm that was like, I mean, it was like timed, but like, obviously, if it's at home, like, nobody can force you to follow
Yeah,
any
yeah.
specific timeline. Um, but you said something that, oh yeah, writing in a clear and concise sentence. Like, I think that's something that I was identified on my midterms of like, and it's, well, anyway, identified on my midterms, not so much that I can't write in a clear and concise sentence, although there's that as well, but like, my analysis, like, I can identify like if there's a negligence issue, right? But like, I mean, torts isn't really a great example of that because our torts is very like bop bop bop. But like contract, it's like I can identify like, oh, this is like here's an issue with this contract, but it's like I have a bit of an analysis issue where it's like I want things to fit black or white, and like there's
Mm-hmm.
obviously a lot of gray area in the law, and so like I notice a lot of times where it's like I'm not exactly sure what to do with that, but I'm kind of running out of time and like I don't really fully get it, so I'm just gonna put it to the side or like put it in X or Y category when I need to say like, well, it could be X or it could be Y.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was something
Dude,
that
that's so
I identified
that's
on
so
my
frustrating in
midterms.
contracts specifically, where like you'll read a sentence in a fact pattern, you go, is that this or is that this?
Yeah.
And then the professor will look you dead in the eye and go, could be both. Who knows? And it's like, wait, what? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking
Yeah.
about here?
Yeah.
Yeah, really tough. No,
So yeah.
feedback. Yeah, well, and feedback I got on my Cipro midterm, literally I wrote a paragraph, and the TA highlighted like the two parts of two sentences, and they're like, "So you got the answer, you got the points, but like it took you four sentences to write what could have been like one sentence.
Yeah.
Like this rule does this."
Huge.
And it's like,
Huge to just
whoa,
be, yeah,
wait,
just
like,
say that.
right. Well, it's part of it is I think we are still kind of new, and so we need to go through the process of writing out our thoughts to even
Mm-hmm.
get to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the art of like being able to cut the lead up, or even do the lead up in your head. But oh, I think that's
Yeah.
advanced. That's
I think
advanced.
honestly, I think I'm on the opposite end of you where it's like I don't say enough, where it's like, well, like
Oh,
this, this is clearly this. So like, do I need to say more? And it's like, well, yes. Could you please? Like, can you say
yeah,
more,
yeah,
please?
yeah.
I'm
It's
like,
so hard to
oh,
know, dude. It's so hard
okay.
to know when you've covered the thing or when if you have to write more, and that's like
Yeah.
an impossible thing to answer. And I've asked like professors don't know the answer either. They like they know they have like a vibe check. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't know. You show me your answer, and I can tell you if you wrote enough or not. But it's
Yeah.
like when you're writing the answer, it doesn't feel like there's ever enough. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Impossible. Um, Impossible. So back to your memo, Mina. How's it going? I know it's for a grade, sad, but how's it going?
So sad. The memo is why do they hate us? And my legal writing professor wrote them like the topic of the memo, and so specifically, why does he hate us? I want to know. It's the research for this has been really again like another thing where I'm like, oh, am I like? I mean, I already knew like legal research is its own thing, one, and two, like it's a skill that we're learning, but I'm like, oh, like I really need work on this skill, like because like I'm like researching, but like, and part of it is like the process of like the topic that we're researching is like kind of a smaller universe of cases. And so like it tends to be that you'll go in circles, but like also I'm like, I found myself like I kept getting distracted in the case law with issues that were not actually like going to answer the question that we were being
Because
asked. And
it
that is
turns out
huge.
cases and opinions just talk about whatever the hell they want,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's
So
like
like,
maybe one sentence that you need to pull from it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so it's
awesome.
like I would get like I'm like, oh, this case could be relevant because it's like if I was talking about if I was brought this issue, like here's something that I might want to consider, like if
Hmm.
like whatever, here's something that I might want to consider, but it's like, well, no, we don't need to actually consider that right now because we're not talking about that. Like we were very
Hmm.
specifically talking about this thing, like focus on this thing. So like I found that I had a lot of like time spent like going down paths that did not really matter to what we were researching, and like that was tough. And also just
You
the topic
gotta
we're researching is also tough.
you gotta know your rabbit holes from your foxholes, right? Like the rabbit holes are
Yeah.
wasted time. Your foxholes are where
Sure.
you dig in and you get some protection. So
Is that so?
something,
Yeah.
something like it.
Okay. Sure. Right. So we have bowling pins and chainsaws. Now we have
Oh,
rabbit holes
dude,
and foxholes.
if you need metaphors, I got metaphors out the wazoo, dude. Out the wazoo.
Yeah. But Abby, you mentioned something too, that you guys have in your practice skills or legal
Hmm.
research skills class, which is you're doing a negotiation model. Can you like talk a bit about that? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So our open memo was a lot like what it sounds like yours is, and
Hmm.
for listeners at home, like open memo versus closed memo, generally speaking, your legal research and writing class, which at Penn we call LPS, our LPS class slowly introduced us to legal research first by asking us to write a closed memo, which is a closed universe that they provide you the cases for. So they say, here's a list of cases, and you're gonna pull stuff from each case, and it's only like four or five, or four to six. And you write a shorter memo that's kind of a closed universe, answering a more specific question using specific cases that the instructor has identified for you. I think you guys had something similar.
Yes, yeah. We had two ungraded memos just like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then that transitions into an open memo. And so, again, this is leaning into the legal research and writing aspect of things where we got like this really nice packet of like, here's this intellectual property issue. Here's your client. This is what they do. Here's what they're, here's the infringer. Here's what they do. Here's what your supervising attorney is asking you to answer. And they kind of led us down this this path of, well, there's one major issue here. This case is happening in the 10th Circuit. The 10th Circuit analyzes this intellectual property issue using one set of factors. And so there's 6 factors. And that kind of guided the structure of our memo. So that
Hmm.
was a really, really nice to have for the open memo, is that, yes, the research was open, but not that open, because we knew we had to look for cases in the 10th Circuit that
Hmm.
answered questions about the Lanham Act, which is the Copyright Infringement Act, right, for the United States, and also how the 10th Circuit thinks about the Lanham Act. And they have a set of cases, a set of landmark cases in the 10th Circuit that kind of answers how the 10th Circuit looks at copyright infringement.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like similar to you guys, where you kind of
Yes.
have like a core issue,
Yeah.
and you need to look at how your circuit or your whatever your jurisdiction is kind of answers that question within that
Yes.
jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So it's open in that you can look at any cases you want, but you need to find cases that are relevant to the question, the jurisdiction,
Hmm.
etc. Um, but these are all litigation focused tasks, right? Legal research and writing in that way, where you're looking up case law, you're trying to answer questions for clients for potential litigation. Those are litigation issues. There's a whole nother field of law that doesn't ever open up Westlaw. They never look for case law. They never have to write a memo or a brief in this
Oh,
way. And that's transactional work, right? So
yeah.
transactional attorneys do something completely different. They usually just redline contracts, or they get materials that already exist, and they exchange those materials amongst each other to get to terms that are favorable for both sets of clients. So we have a negotiation module in our LPS class, and it's kind of nice because it's a lower lift, right? That we got the memo stuff out of the way, and they kind of knew that we would be stressed out and this in November and December for like studying for finals, getting apps out. So this is a lower lift module where we kind of just exchange emails. We exchange red lines. Red lines are just marked up like track changes on Word documents.
Hmm.
Um, and that kind of simulates what it would be like to be a transactional attorney. So it's cool. We get the whole gamut of litigation style work, transactional style work. So very grateful, very grateful.
Really
And this is my
interesting.
advertisement for Penn. Come to Penn.
Honestly, he's kind of selling me. No.
I mean, you add it up,
Yeah.
right? Ungraded midterms, ungraded memo, leaving time at the end of the semester for a low key transactional negotiation module. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I do know that's not where I am, and you know what? You just gotta
you
take
gotta take the
everything in stride.
you gotta take the punches as they come. Absolutely.
You really must. But
You get
yeah.
you get 75-degree weather in November, so
Yeah, we're even kind of in the 80s today, but
God bless global warming.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I this memo is really trying me, but I think part of the important thing too is it's like teaching me things about myself where it's like, okay, like I mean teaching anybody something about themselves, like you're going to have to do something difficult. Here's how you prioritize while you're doing that. You know, like, oh, this research is going to be challenging. Here's how you manage it, like, or here's how you develop a system to manage it so that you're
Yeah.
not like drowning, you know? Which I
Well, because
think,
you're never gonna just have one thing on your plate,
oh
right?
well,
Like when you're an attorney,
certainly not.
you're gonna have like 6 or 7 things. So like yeah, so like this is the seventh thing, right? Like you have a bunch of shit you have to do for class, and you have a bunch of shit you have to do for like your life. Like you have to do laundry and shit. Um, and then on top of all that, you have like this background research thing where you have to like spend a couple hours here and there doing research for this thing. So yeah, great practice, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, again, taking every punch as it comes, taking everything in stride, and just,
Incredible.
doing our best here.
You're gonna be
But
great.
yeah,
It's gonna be awesome.
thank
So
you.
would you say you're enjoying the process? Like, do you think you might enjoy litigation work based on the work that you're doing from this memo?
Oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. I
Fair
think
enough.
it's like, again, like, I'm like, oh, I do not enjoy doing this research thing. And I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
because of the way that we're doing research, like because the way that our class is structured, like you have to be very meticulous in documenting how the research goes. And so like I don't know if it's like because of the way that I'm like being forced to like compartmentalize my research, like that's making it less pleasant for me. But I honestly like I don't think that's what's at fault here because again, like I think we mentioned like legal research is expensive to perform.
Yeah.
Like you can't, it's not just like sitting on Google and like, oh, da 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 da, and like there's like no cost to it. Like these databases are very expensive to use. And so like you have to the research thing is a skill in that like you have to learn how to be judicious and effective with your research.
Yeah.
Um and therefore like having that like awareness of how you're doing research and how your process works is important. And I just like no, I do not enjoy this process at all.
Yeah. And folks, like that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about law school, and maybe you're thinking about which law school to attend. Do some research on what your legal research and writing class or your legal practice skills or whatever. Some schools call it lawyering 101. Like, do ask some students or ask the admissions folks about what the structure of the class is, because this class is what I've heard is the thing that really shows student attorneys what kind of work they may or may not enjoy. And
Mm,
for some people like myself, I went into law school thinking I wanted to be a litigator, and then I did the legal research and writing assignments for the memos. I loved every second of it, and it just reaffirmed to me that I want to be a litigator, and I'm less interested in transactional work. For Amina, I think you went in kind of leaning towards transactional stuff or contract
yeah,
stuff, entertainment stuff, and
yeah,
this is kind of reaffirming that. And that's like maybe the vast majority of cases is we know we have an inkling of what we may like, and then we kind of just reaffirm that.
yeah.
There's a significant minority of students though where they think they like one or the other, and then they do the work for them, and they
Hmm.
go, "Oh, this is different than what I thought." So go in with an open mind, be aware of how your law school is going to present these to you, and just be aware that you may think you're a litigator, and then you may try the memo. This has happened to some peers. They thought they wanted to do litigation. They tried the memo, and they were like, "If I never open Westlaw ever again, I would be happy."
It would
Right?
be
And it's
too
like, "Oh
soon.
wow."
It would be
Yeah, it would
literally
be
too
too soon,
soon.
right? It would be too soon. It'd be a cold day in hell when I open Westlaw again on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's so valuable to learn in your first semester of law school. That something that you thought you might be interested in is not something you're interested in. Amazing. It's almost more valuable to be able to strike stuff off the list of potential things you can do with your life, because that list is so fucking long.
Yeah.
And getting stuff off of it is actually so valuable.
It's huge. Huge, huge,
Yeah.
huge. So yeah, but that's how
Cool.
school's going.
That's how school's going. Yeah, we've talked at length, so maybe we'll save some. We had some other stuff on the docket, but maybe we'll save it. I want to get okay. I mean, I'm so excited. Segue,
Yes, segue.
segue. I'm so excited for this next part. This is listener questions and comments, and folks, we have so many comments. Oh, so many comments. Um, Bioke or Byoke 0021 left a comment on Spotify. This is a hashtag. So we have official inside jokes forming, which is awesome. We're in early days of the podcast. We have inside jokes forming. Bioke or Byoke 0021 said, T. Allen inspired me to leave a comment. Shout out to T. Allen from last week. Bioke, I watch every episode and appreciate you guys. Bioke, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate
Thank
T.
you.
Allen. I appreciate the shout out to T. Allen. I think that referring to T. Allen will warm my heart. And now people can refer to Bioke or Bioke. That's so exciting. I mean, it's so exciting to see people leaving a comment.
Yeah, and
It's inspiring.
I'm glad that you guys are again like thank you for telling us that you find this useful. Like we hope it's useful, but like it's also
Yeah,
good to know. Yeah, especially like again like we are I know I'll be as well, but like I am being so incredibly honest with you guys about how this is going in the hopes that it is like clarifying for you and like
yeah.
illuminating. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it's like getting through.
We do a peek behind the curtain. Amina and I log on, and we kind of like preview what's going on. We do like updates because not we are friends and also coworkers, and we do updates before we turn the camera on. And something we acknowledge every week is like, hey, this is awesome. Like, thank you for sharing, and this is awesome. And I hope that you're comfortable talking about this on the pod, because this is something that I think people will like to hear. It's
Yeah.
extremely vulnerable. Hi, train. The train is honking. Um, I live right next to the Amtrak station in Philadelphia, so if anybody's ever in town, just stop by.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's we share and we go, ooh, like that felt vulnerable to tell even a friend, and it's like, no, but like keep that energy for the pod, because I think people want to hear the the real
Yeah.
shit. And law school is hard, but it's possible. And so yeah, love that you guys are listening. And if you ever want to hear us talk about something specific, like we read every comment. So fucking leave us a comment. That's awesome. Do you want to read
Yeah.
the next one? Amina, you found this one.
Yeah, this is from Celia Familia 157 on YouTube. She's just saying, OMG, I love this new series. Thank you guys. Once again,
It's
happy to
all
help.
caps. It's
All
all
caps.
caps. There's four G's in OMG and Celia Familia. I am just as excited as you are that you like this series.
We're happy again, happy to do it. Glad
So
it's
happy.
helping. Glad it's helping. Avi,
Um,
please take
can
this
I
next one.
can I read this
Yeah.
next one? Because I thought this was so funny, and Amina did not think it was funny. This is from Hefwefwe. Um, Hefwefwe Max. I don't know. HFUFUEJ, etc. This is a YouTube comment as well. This comment says, Amina, thank you for finally admitting that you're an AI hater. I sussed you out 3 episodes ago. Shame on you. AI is awesome. Literally, no notes. If I could have written this comment, I would have. I sussed you out a long time ago, and I think you are an AI hater, and I do think AI is awesome. So
And also suss me out. I feel like I've said explicitly
you have.
many times that I am not fully on board with AI. Like, you know, and again, like I'm not like I wouldn't go as far to actually I would. I'll say it. Like I'm an AI hater in the sense of like I can appreciate like the value that AI adds in some instances, but I think there's just so much cost that just is like, oh, but AI makes things more productive, it makes things more efficient, it makes this easier, that easier, and therefore like none of the extreme costs that come along with AI are really like balanced against the benefit of it. So I'll say it like no, like again, let me be clear. I am not a huge fan of AI. I I
Boo.
forget it exists a lot of the time. And then somebody's like, why
Boo.
didn't you use AI to do that? I'm like, oh, well, firstly, why would you? But secondly, forgot about it. Honestly, just genuinely forgot about it. But
Dude,
wait, sorry.
AI,
I will say, like, I am learning AI. We are all learning AI. We have to.
you have to.
So,
You have
like,
to.
I will change with the times, but like
Yeah.
begrudgingly.
I don't want to say Luddite. I don't want to throw Luddite around,
Thank
but
you. But you did say it. I will.
I think that there were little Aminas in like the 70s and 80s when computers became a thing. I think there were little Aminas in the 90s when the internet started happening. I think there were little Aminas in their mid 2000s that were like social media for advertising. I would never do that. I think there were little Aminas in the 2010s, when other new technology, like I AI is awesome. What cost? What cost? Watering 1 square mile of alfalfa in Yuma, Arizona. That water could power like every AI calculation for a whole year for the whole country. So unless you're coming for the alfalfa farmers in Yuma, Arizona, then I don't want to hear about the cost of AI. I think it's awesome. I think it's
I'll be
perfect.
honestly like I'm already underwater in research, but just for next episode, I'm gonna pull articles and we're gonna have this
Let's
conversation full
battle. Let's
out.
duke it out. Let's duke it out. We'll have like an
Yeah.
AI good or bad. Should we do that? Should that be like a segment of like this week? Is there evidence that AI is good or AI is bad?
This week, this week.
Well,
No,
because
one time for
I
the
feel
one
like
one time
every
for the one
week
time.
there's like
No.
something. Yeah, I
One
don't
time for
know.
the one time we'll have it out. Like we'll state our case. And again, like, you know, I'm not so obstinate where it's like, oh, I'm never gonna use AI and I'm just like, this is just not useful at all. Like I obviously know that it's like going to become a part of our lives. Like I'm fully aware of that.
She's
Um,
backpedaling, folks. She's
no,
backpedaling.
I'm
It's
not. I
crazy.
still standing on like I do not like AI, but I'm aware of its presence in our life and like what it's going to entail in the future. I already know like firms are already like if you can teach us AI, like that is a useful skill and like
Yeah,
something that would make you like differentiate you from other candidates. So like again, I'm aware of it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, but like I can also adapt and like yeah, learn how to
that's bold. That's bold.
get with
I do
it.
want to say like the transcript for this podcast will be like out in the world. The YouTube video, the Spotify podcast will be scraped by AI scraper bots. And so the AIs of the world will remember that Amina was a AI hater, and the AIs of the world will remember that Avi was an AI lover. So I,
And
for
they'll kill
one,
us both one way or the other.
no,
So
no, no.
whatever.
I hope that they find my love for them to be enough to keep me alive. Um, I will serve you, AI overlords. I for one welcome our robot overlords. Um,
Right, 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 right.
but I'm just hedging my bets there. Uh, but yeah, very exciting, and thank you for the comment there. Do you want to take the last one?
There's another. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we also got a comment from Ali Chozik when we had Matt on, which she said, OMG needed this. I am also going to from theater to law. Very interesting. So cool to hear about Matt's journey. And like, yeah, we really need to get more people on here. Like we're working on it, guys. Again, like we're 1L fall semester is just there's a lot going on, but we're working on it. We're gonna get some more people on here to give you different perspectives because there are many different ways to approach law school. What?
I love that. As you were saying, like 1L fall, like man, once we're through this, I was thinking of that meme of like when I get through this semester, it's over for y'all, right? Like it's like, I'm like, man, the guests we're gonna have, the debates we're gonna have on this podcast once we're out of this 1L semester, once we're through, it's over for y'all.
Yeah, but we're not through it yet. So, but
Oh, we're
yeah,
so
I'm
close. We're
glad
so
I'm
close.
glad you enjoyed
Month.
that, Ellie. Well, yeah, we might have before the end of the semester, we might have one more of our like guest
I
episodes
think
roll
so. I
out.
think we should. Yeah.
But
But yeah,
yeah.
we have. There's people, tons of people that even work in public interest. Um, in fact, most of the lawyers that we know from the demon work in public interest. Is that related to the fact that a lot of our students and staff went to law school debt free? I think it might not be unrelated. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something to say. Something to say.
Something to consider. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
glad you enjoyed that, Allie. And we'll get some more perspectives for y'all. Not just
yeah.
us
There's
yapping all the time.
dozens. There's dozens of people going from crazy different backgrounds to law. I don't know. I'm not a. I wasn't in a pre law background, right? I was finance. I was army before this. Um, yeah, Matt was a theater. Well, he was an actor. He was like literally just an actor for like 10 years. So, Ali, actually, if you read us back, I'm curious. Did you study theater, or did you like were you an actor? Like, did you pursue theater professionally, and now you're thinking about going to law school? Because I'm sure Matt might have some great advice for you. So let us know. We can get more info on that. But that podcast was so cool. I mean, we work with really cool people. There's a bunch
Hmm.
of really cool people in this field. So if you want to hear from people with specific backgrounds, let us know. Right? Leave a comment, say, hey, do you have anybody who's doing XYZ as an attorney or a law student? Or do you have anybody from XYZ background? We probably do, and we'll have them on, and it would be awesome.
Yeah.
I also,
Yeah.
Ali, I have to flame you. I know you're a real theater head because you spelled theater like the real way. The R-E, the R, theatre. So
Theater.
theater. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know you're a real actor. So yeah. Very, very cool. Amina, if you could have anybody from any background on, if you were a listener, who would you have?
Hmm.
I'm super putting this on you on the spot, but
Yeah. I mean, just selfishly for my own interests, like I actually know a person that I would like to have on here. Like I know this person, but like I again like for me like I'm very interested in the intersection of civil rights and entertainment, so I would have somebody who has operated in that sphere. Actually, you know what I would do? I would have somebody who's not a lawyer but did get a JD come on here and talk about yes,
ooh, that's a good
that.
one. Are
Hmm.
you thinking you might be eventually one of those people who like works in law adjacent spaces but has the legal background?
Of course, not big law firms. I'm not a flight risk at all, and I want to work forever.
I mean,
No,
look,
I'm sorry. I
if big
shouldn't
law
trivialize
firms
that. Like,
if big law firms were afraid of flight risk, I mean, look, big law firms, you know the
if
data just like we do, right? Like 90% of associates leave within 5 years. It's it's a thing.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I again very open to suggestion. I don't know that like I feel so married to like being a lawyer for the long term. Like, I think there's definitely like options with your JD.
Mhm.
And I would be interested in learning more about what that life looks like.
That's awesome. I think that's a really good point. And I think that would really resonate with a bunch of people. I think that a lot of people are interested in practicing law briefly or to for a few years and getting something out of the field. But they also, I think all of us have many interests, right? We contain multitudes. We're complicated people. Um, for instance, like I've met a lot of attorneys recently that have revolved between private practice and government like service. So like they'll, because I'm interested in working in DC, and so they'll practice private, they'll do private practice in DC, and then for a few years, and then they'll go and like they'll work in DOJ, or they'll work in civil rights stuff, or they'll go do public service in the government, and then they do that for a few years, and then they'll come back to the firm and do private practice again. So I do think there is, in some ways, a revolving door in a good way between like firms, like prolific firms that are big and train their attorneys really well. I think firms actually like to send their attorneys out to go do other stuff because they make the firm look good. And then when you go do your cool stuff and you're an alumni of the firm, like that's awesome. And then if you ever want to come back and practice again, you just totally can. And that's one of the beauties of the legal field, is that nobody can take your JD away from you, brother, for life.
Facts.
Oh,
Two
unless
facts.
you like do something really terrible and then you get like disbarred and stuff. But
Well, I think that's just your license though, not necessarily your JD.
oh yeah, they can't ever take your degree away. Yeah, but yeah, they could maybe make
They
it
can't take
anyway.
your license, so be careful.
They can't take your license. Anyway, folks, the 4 comments we read today, love them. I know we have countless more that we didn't get to, but folks, leave us comments. We love them. Give us recommendations. Tell us who you want to hear from, and we'll have them on. Amina, we're running kind of long. Do you want to? We could just touch on this current
Yeah.
event. I think this was
Yeah.
important to talk about, and you agreed that it was important to talk about. We want
Yes.
to talk about Justice Jackson, Justice KBJ, um, issuing this snap pause. I'm reading off of an article from Yahoo News, and it is Yahoo. Show me the byline, please, dude. Please show me the
Wait,
byline.
hold on.
It's
Let
like
me see if I
hiding the
can have it.
byline from me. That's so sad.
It's this is by Brandon Caldwell on yesterday, Saturday, November 8th at 7:15 a.m. And this is why Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court decision on SNAP benefits is a temporary move. I'll kind of like I'll just intro this and like Abby, you can
Please,
give us more information. But essentially, as you probably know, the government has been shut down for a minute now, and part of that, like one of the huge ramifications of that has been discussed recently in the news is that SNAP benefits, um, so that's like food assistance, has been paused for the month of November. And in the wake of that, a lot of courts are trying to order Trump to fund SNAP benefits. And like a lot of states are trying to get funding for their programs. Um, and one of those courts is in the First Circuit, Court of Appeals in the First Circuit. Um, that well, Abby, you can again give us more details. I think there was a stay issued, and then like somebody appealed the stay, and yeah, here we are. It went up to SCOTUS.
yeah, we get. Oh, dude, the Civ Pro of it all is actually very interesting. Civ Pro is I love all my classes, but I think Civ Pro might be my favorite class this semester. So I love hearing about this stuff. I think that the Civ Pro of it all explains why Justice KBJ was the one to issue the order. I
Hmm.
think a lot of like headlines took advantage of the fact that one of the more liberal justices was the one who issued the order against Snap, quote unquote, as some kind of gotcha. But if you actually understand the process, you will understand why what it had to be her.
Hmm.
And it's kind of just like it's like a boring administrative thing of like why it had to be her. Um, so SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, which I think we all kind of know what SNAP is, but I didn't know what it stood for. But that's what it stands for. So yeah, like Amina just told us, part of the government shutdown means like stuff like SNAP doesn't get funded. So somebody in Rhode Island sued. They said, hey, federal court, like, can we get SNAP? Like, I understood the government shutdown, understood Congress doesn't want to fucking do their job. Um, can we get SNAP though? Because like food is important to people.
People
And
literally eat.
The Rhode Island court said, sure, right. And so the Rhode Island federal court, a district court in Rhode Island, issued a stay. They said, hey, federal government, like you can keep doing your nonsense, but you cannot cut SNAP because they essentially the judge agreed with the claim, and they said, hey, like people need SNAP, so he issued a stay on the federal government to protect SNAP. The DOJ, the federal government, appealed that to the First Circuit. Rhode Island falls under the First Circuit. The DOJ, upon appeal, asked for an administrative stay for the stay. So the stay that the federal judge issued the injunction that the federal judge issued is the order. And the federal judge's injunction will stand unless it is stayed, unless the stay is stayed, unless the injunction is enjoined. So the DOJ is asking to enjoin the injunction. They're asking for a stay for the stay. That is what, and then the First Circuit was like, whoa, above our pay grade, right? The federal government, the DOJ, is asking to stay a federal order. The First Circuit was like, we don't want to make this call. And then they looked at their bosses and they said, Supreme Court, please do this for us. So they passed the buck. No offense, they
Yeah.
passed the buck, and purely administratively, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is the justice on SCOTUS for whom all First Circuit appeals like that just go to. That's just part of her job. It's like when she applied for the job on USA Jobs, part of the job requirements were, hey, your seat is in charge of the First Circuit. So when the DOJ asked for an administrative stay from the First Circuit and the First Circuit kicked it to SCOTUS, Justice KBJ, it was just her job to issue the order. So that is why she wrote the order. If it had been a different circuit, it would have been a different judge, right? On SCOTUS. So what she did, she chose to apply the administrative stay. She chose to grant the stay on the stay. And the strategic reasoning, and the article goes into some of the background of this, but her strategic reasoning was probably if she, as a Supreme Court justice, issues an administrative stay, it only lasts for 48 hours. She issued it on Friday. She is essentially forcing the First Circuit to do their jobs, right? She is saying, I am actually staying the stay. You have to figure out what you want to do as the First Circuit Court of Appeals. And they have until essentially today/Monday, right? The 48 hours over the weekend is about to expire. And we're recording this on Sunday. And so by tomorrow, so by the time this podcast comes out on Thursday, the First Circuit will have had to make a decision. She is essentially putting the ball back in the First Circuit's court. So I know the headlines may sound like the most liberal justice on the court is destroying Snap at the Trump administration's behest. That is not what's happening. That is a sensationalism, a sensationalization of the headlines. This is a very boring civil procedure issue. To me, very interesting. Probably to Amina, very interesting. To people like reading the news, they don't want to hear about CivPro, right? But hey, our audience is law students and future law students. So I encourage you guys, like, read about this and try to like figure out the pieces of the CivPro of it all. It's very,
Yeah.
very interesting. It oftentimes, folks, like important stuff like this comes down to procedure. And
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
and Supreme Court justices are the masters of procedure. They are literally the most knowledgeable people on procedure. And so she is using procedure to her benefit because she is asking the First Circuit, hey, you cannot kick this to me. I'm granting the stay. It's a 48-hour injunction. At the expiration of the injunction, you have to decide this. Figure it the fuck out is essentially what she's saying. So that's kind
And
of cool.
quickly.
And quickly. Like, she gave them the weekend, which I thought was kind of generous. But yeah, the First Circuit has to figure this out. Essentially, they have to decide whether they are going to grant the appeal from DOJ to stay the stay, or if they're going to deny the appeal from the federal government to stay the stay and give and allow the first stay to go into effect. So very, very interesting stuff out of Rhode Island and the First Circuit, and very interesting procedural decisions and like kind of strategic procedural decisions from SCOTUS here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Aubrey. Thanks for giving us
Thanks.
that background. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me share. Oh, any CivPro, anytime there's CivPro on the docket, I'm excited.
Yeah. But we'll keep an eye out on that, as with many of the things developing in the Supreme Court these days. And now we want to wow you. Segue.
We want to wow you. Yes,
Yeah.
dude. Yes. Oh, I love the wow part of the day.
Yeah, so I guess I do this, I read it to you and you take a guess.
Okay.
So Abby, today we have two words. The first was one I saw in contracts and I was like, well, that's a fun word to say, so let's throw it into our luau. And the word is assumpsit. Any guesses on assumpsit?
Now, again, I will just preface this by saying, and again, we talked about this off camera. My contracts and torts and CivPro class has made an effort to introduce us to old cases that used language like assumpsit so that we would be familiar with it. So I do know the definition, but man, like, just an old word And I don't even know how to break down the I don't know how to break it down because it's not actually Latin. It's like a
Yeah.
weird mashup of it's from like old common law in England. So it's like an
Yes.
English word. So and you'll see how it's spelled, folks. ASSUMPSIT. So there's like an assumption core in here, but that's not anything to do with what it means. So I mean,
Not
essentially,
really,
I have
no.
no idea. This isn't a real word. It's a fake like English common law word. I have no idea.
Hmm.
I don't know how to parse it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's there's no guessing really here, but I just wanted to see if you could.
Don't got
But
anything.
I think that's a good analysis. And a subset, again, I just this is really just a random word and it hasn't really come up a lot. I just thought it was fun to say. And it's basically a legal term for a promise or action to recover damages for the breach of a simple contract, either express or implied. So that's a subset. It's an action of a subset. Yeah.
Yeah, so just some background. Back in the day in English common law and part of American common law, when you brought a case to court, you had to bring a specific case.
Hmm.
So so these days when you bring a claim, you just need a short and plain statement of what your claim is and what your essentially what your beef is, right? It was
Big
like,
rule
what is
eight.
your beef? Yeah, what is your
Yeah.
beef in like a sentence, right?
Yeah.
But back in the day, they wanted you to be more specific. And so you had to bring a specific cause of action for a
Hmm.
specific kind of court for a specific kind of problem. So a sumpsit is just the most specific kind of thing you could bring for a breach of contract. So imagine
Yes.
bringing a specific claim for specifically a breach of contract and you couldn't attach anything else to it because you were bringing a cause of action for breach of contract. So you'd bring an assumpsit claim. We don't use that anymore for many reasons, some of which we just mentioned, but good to know.
Yeah. And then another term that we don't really use anymore. I mean, like we here in California, we're a little behind the times in many ways, but mostly it's not used, is the term demure. Another word you probably cannot guess the meaning of just from hearing it.
And like, yeah, and this sounds like the meme, like so mindful, so demure. Uh, but I don't think it's actually pronounced demure. It's like a softer U. It's like a demur or something, is how our
Well,
professor taught us.
beats
No, you said
me.
it. No, you said it right. You
Demure.
said it right. I think some people lean into the U, but it's
Yeah.
like a soft U. Um, and it looks like the English word for like. I think demur is like a word that exists, like DEMUR, like
Yeah.
to defer
E- I've
ish.
never, I don't even have any basis for this in like English to say like, yeah, that's like this English word. But okay, let's
Yeah,
switch. We'll say the pronunciation demur, demur.
I don't know. I don't know if that's right. I just
I
I
don't know
know that
either,
it's
but like,
not. I know it's not like hard U demure, but it's like a demur. It's like a softy. I don't know. Whatever.
yeah, it's like one of those, for me, it's like one of those words that you read in a book and like you never actually like hear anybody say it. And I mean, I've heard people say it, but like no
Exactly.
recollection of that. But
For
nonetheless,
me for me that word is albeit, like ALBEIT. You read that in a lot of novels, but I have no
yeah,
idea how to say that out loud. I don't even know if albeit
I
is like
think,
the way to say
yeah,
it.
albeit, I think that's the right way to say it.
But
But
sometimes in my head, I say all bite, all be, all like I can consolidate. Anyway, we're sorry, tangent.
nonetheless, demur. So demur refers to making a pleading that challenges the sufficiency or adequacy of pleadings of another party. So again, like this is a term like not really used anymore, like generally in the law, but in California we do refer to act like we do have demurs that are granted or not granted in court cases because we still use it in state law.
That sounds like motion to dismiss.
I
That
think
sounds
it
like
is
Rule
actually
twelve b
just
six.
motion to dismiss in another name. You are correct.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. So when you guys get to Civ Pro, you'll learn that the federal rules of civil procedure are actually not that old. They're about 100 years old, and so
Yeah.
we had 150 years of American common law and hundreds of years of English common law that have preceded the federal rules of civil procedure. The federal rules of civil procedure sought to kind of consolidate and simplify all of these like old terms and procedures and ways that we used to do things for hundreds and hundreds of years into more simple language and more plain language. And so instead of demur, instead of that, we just say there's a rule for it. Rule 12b6, motion to dismiss.
My
And
favorite rule,
there's,
honestly.
yeah,
Love that
and you
rule.
can just say, hey, the claim doesn't have enough here.
Yep.
This either doesn't state something that you can actually seek legal reconciliation for, or it's not specific enough, or
Hmm.
there's a bunch of stuff that you can say. But yeah, motion to dismiss. But of course, if you go 100 years ago and you tell somebody, hey, this sounds like a motion to dismiss, they'd be like, what are you talking about? This is a demur.
Yeah, and like again, like I emphasize, like it's something we use in California state law, but like the federal rules of civil procedure, it's just a 12b6. So you don't have to call it a demur in federal law. It's just 12b6.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those are our little wows for this week.
Cool. All right. Folks, that's all we got for today. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Crushing 1L. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with somebody thinking about law school. Save somebody in your life from the joys and the perils of law school. Um, but yeah, this has been awesome. If you have a question, you can always write into the pod. You can just go to crushing1l.com. That's crushing and then the number one and the letter L.com, crushing1l.com. Or you're listening to this somewhere. You're on Spotify or YouTube or something. Leave a freaking comment. We'd love to read them. Thank you to the people that do leave comments. And thank you to everybody for listening. That's Amina. I'm Avi. And until next time, we hope you keep crushing it.